In this week's stories, we have zombie viruses, NASA building houses on the moon, interest payments on a national debt exceeding military spending, and more. Welcome to Carbon Valley. I'm your host, Roger. Netflix is planning to open new venues called Netflix houses that will allow fans to be immersed in the worlds of their favorite TV shows, eat themed food, and try out new activities like a Squid Game obstacle course. Netflix has already been experimenting with pop-up fan experiences for a few years, including restaurants with food from a Netflix cooking show or a store with themed items. The Netflix house will be the first permanent location. The company plans to open the first 2 Netflix houses in the US in 2025 before expanding to other areas around the world. There will be rotating installations, ticketed shows, and restaurants from fast food to high-end dining. Speaking of building physical houses, NASA might also join the real estate bandwagon, but it's not what you might think. NASA is actively researching the potential for building habitats on the moon, an initiative that could become a reality by 2040. The space agency has formed a partnership with Icon, a technology company that specializes in constructing homes through 3D printing. Together, they are collaborating on a system aimed at building living spaces on the moon with a long-term vision of expanding this technology to Mars. A major challenge in outer space infrastructure development is the cost of transporting construction materials. With NASA's financial backing, Icon is in the process of developing an advanced 3D printer. This printer will be uniquely capable of producing lunar structures using materials exclusively harvested from the moon itself, such as rock fragments, mineral particles, and other material extracted from lunar dust. That being said, NASA's home away from home could really come in handy, as a zombie virus might soon overrun Earth. Zombie viruses are viruses that can be brought back to life from their frozen state as their habitats in the Siberian permafrost face risks of thawing as a result of rising temperatures. One research team, led by virologist Jean-Michel Claverie, published research showing that they'd extracted multiple ancient viruses from the Siberian permafrost, some found almost 50,000 years ago, all of which still remain infectious. In the summer of 2016, a heatwave in Siberia activated anthrax spores, leading to numerous infections, killing a child and thousands of reindeer. It turns out that multicellular organisms can survive permafrost conditions in an inactive metabolic state. The Siberian permafrost can reach up to 1 kilometer deep and covers 2/3 of Russian territory. It provides ideal conditions for preserving organic matter. 50,000 years ago was when the Neanderthals disappeared from the region. If they died of an unknown viral disease, then these viruses could certainly pose a threat to the modern world. At the same time, the Siberian region is home to a bounty of natural resources, from coal, natural gas, to diamonds and iron ore. Mining these areas could expose the possibility of interaction with harmful pathogens. Even research in the area has waned, amid concerns that locating the viruses itself could spark a pandemic. Another pandemic might increase government spending further, which could increase the national debt even more. The government spends over $800 billion in interest on the national debt in the current fiscal year. During the same time period, it spent only $696 billion on national defense. Given the amount the US spends on the military each year, that is a pretty big deal. At present, the US is paying $2 billion in interest every day. While government spending and borrowing increased when rates were low during COVID, the inflation and high rates currently have amplified the cost of debt. When the government owes a lot, it crowds out other types of borrowing, like from the private sector. Getting the debt under control could mean taking a serious look at healthcare, social security, the tax code, and military spending. Without adjusting spending, increasing taxes could lead to slower growth, but doing nothing would lead to higher interest payments. Hopefully, growth in emerging technologies like microchips could help. Researchers at Cambridge University are developing a microchip that might be able to extend a phone's battery life to an entire month, only needing charges 12 times a year. The idea is to create a silicon chip processor that needs minimal energy to run. This microchip is over 100 times smaller than current devices, and it draws inspiration from existing medical devices like cochlear implants for the hearing impaired. Speaking of new technology, scientists have developed AI-powered eye scans to detect markers of Parkinson's disease several years before symptoms appear. It's the first time the condition can be detected years in advance of its diagnosis. These retina scans have the incredible detail, down to 1,000th of a millimeter. It's also the only non-intrusive way to see layers of cells below the skin's surface. A new study used AI to accurately analyze large numbers of eye scans, concluding that a reduced thickness of these cell layers might indicate an increased risk of developing Parkinson's. This development indicates that in the future, people can make lifestyle changes, while clinicians could help in other ways to delay the impact and onset of these neurodegenerative disorders. Alright, that's all for this week's stories. Thanks for watching. Until next time.